Leaders Aware everywhere. It's the Leaders Aware podcast. I'm your host, Alfonzo Jones, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. I'm grateful that you tuned in for this episode. Now, this episode may not be long, but I promise you it'll be powerful because I want to give you some tools, some tips, some tactics on the dichotomy of control. You may have heard of it, you may not, but you're going to hear about it today. So there's a poem, it's actually a prayer, it's called the Prayer of Serenity. And it said, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The reason why this is important is because I feel like we as leaders, oftentimes, we don't understand everything that's within our control. And because we don't understand that, we try to control things that are outside of our control. And what happens when that is the case, it messes with our peace, our power, and our confidence. And until you can make that shift of understanding what's in your control, you're always one situation away from an emotional overload. Is that you? Maybe you're experiencing that right now. Maybe you're feeling overloaded. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe when you're walking into work, into a building, or maybe home, you feel this burden. You feel this weight coming over you. Why? Because you feel like things are out of control, and you believe that you should be able to control them. So Epictetus, he's a Stoic philosopher. He said, some things are in our control and some things are not. And this sounds so simple, but it's so true. So I want to give you three ways. It's going to be a framework of sorts. Let me get it pulled up here of how to handle these things when they do come. So here's what I know. This is what I know for sure. And I learned this recently, and this is what actually drew me to have this episode for us today. I was listening to a YouTube clip, and they were talking about the dichotomy of control. And in essence to that, they were saying that you are responsible for three things that you can control. And I call it the jar. So I want you to remember this. I can only control what's in the jar, the J-A-R, okay? So we as individuals are responsible for the jar, our judgments, that's the J, our actions, which is the A, and our responses, jar. We're responsible and we can control our judgments, our actions, our responses, okay? So think about it. Number one, the judgments. You are responsible and you can control how you judge a situation. Now, granted, how you judge a situation will in large part determine how you act and react to a situation. I'll give you an example. There's a story of three young ladies standing at a crosswalk. As they're standing there, there's a car that crosses their path as they're waiting. Inside the car are three gentlemen. These three gentlemen are dying laughing. I mean, they are having a great time, just giggling it up, right? At the crosswalk, as these three ladies are standing there, these three ladies had three different judgments about what they saw in the car. So lady number one, she looked inside the car, saw the gentleman laughing, and said, "Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Is there something? Do I have something on my face? Is my dress messed up? Why are they laughing so hard? Something must be wrong." Lady number two looked in the car, saw the gentleman laughing, and she started laughing. She was dying laughing. She was like, "I wonder what is so funny. I wish I was in that car right now because they are having a phenomenal time." Lady number 3, no response at all. She saw the gentleman laughing, but she was looking at the stoplight and wondering, I wonder if after this car leaves, will we be able to cross the street? So we have 3 different judgments off one scenario. So I want you to gain from this that as you're looking at things on the outside, you get to judge and or give meaning to what's happening. Now, granted, you may say, yes, there are the things that are true. They may not be true, but guess what? There's a judgment and a meaning that you give to it that's going to determine how you react. So when we're talking about control, this is something that you can control. You have control over, whether you know or not. This is a judgment. This is what I'm giving meaning to. There's different symbols that have certain meanings for different religions. We think about the cross for Christianity and how we think about the ultimate sacrifice, right? It's a meaning that we give to that symbol. We think about the Nike check. We see that. We think of performance, high performance. Why? Because we're used to seeing that, and there is a meaning attached to that. However, what if someone has had a bad experience with Nike and they hate Nike? They will see that check and have a totally different idea about what that means to them. And they get to control that. So we control what's in the jar, our judgments. What meaning am I giving to this situation as it relates to work, as it relates to life, as it relates to home? Am I attaching a meaning that's directly correlated to me when it should not be? The performance of my team. Now, granted, I can do everything that I can do to give them all the tools necessary to perform well, for them to perform well. But at the end of the day, it is up to them to execute off the information and training that I've given them. So once they execute, will determine the results and or the outcome. However, it is important for us, it's important for you as a leader to understand that you cannot 100% take full responsibility for the outcome of another individual. And why do I say that? Because they have control of themselves. You don't control them. You just control how you show up. You control your preparedness. You control how you deliver the information. But at the end of the day, you cannot control fully the outcome of this individual because, again, they are their own individual, own mindsets, own meanings, and they're going to perform at a different state as well. Maybe they do perform well. Great. But if they don't perform well, great. Why do I say that? Again, because we have control over our judgments of the situations. Judgments, actions, responses, okay? So we cannot control the outcomes. We can control how we show up. We can control how we communicate, but we cannot necessarily control the outcomes. We cannot also control the motivations of another individual. And this is so important because these are things that are done. Like I can definitely agree that media and copy and in speech and in communication, we are trained in essence to try to move people with our words. And sometimes that is absolutely effective. But when we settle into the fact that we can do that with 100% accuracy, clarity, and agreement that it will be done, we are setting ourselves up for a failure. Why do I say that? Again, like I've already said, because all individuals are not created equal. We are all different. We all have different mindsets and things of that nature. So it's important that we as leaders, as individuals, understand these things. So our judgment, the meaning, what are we giving meaning to? We're responsible also for our actions. Our actions. You have control over how you determine the action that you will give based off a another action, right? How do I respond to this person who has just communicated with me in an inappropriate way? Do I lash off? Do I lash back? Do I give them the same energy that they just sent to me? Or do I control my actions? Can I be more calculated with my actions? Can I choose to attempt to control my end of this dialogue? And the answer is yes, you can. So oftentimes when we think about actions, you'll hear people say, well, you made me do it. You made me say this. If you hadn't said that, then I wouldn't have said this. And when we hear things like that, and if you have ever said that as a leader, I want you to understand when you say that, you are saying that I have given my power to someone else, and they are, in fact, in control of me. Is that true? Now, granted, I've made that statement. I must say I'm guilty. But when we know better, we do better. When we are aware, we make the adjustments and we do better. So anytime you say, such and such made me, or this made me, you are identifying that thing, whether it's a person, whether it's a situation, whether it's a thing, that thing, person, situation had control over you. It is what it is, right? So lastly, our responses and our reactions, we are responsible for those. So it can kind of go into actions, but this is more so in response, kind of like I was just talking about before. This is in response to someone doing something or saying something. That's where the reactions and responses come. And the actions more so are things that are generated personally from you. So these are the things that you have 100% control over, whether you know it or not. So what we're, as leaders and individuals, I'm encouraging you to do is to be aware of these three things. I need you to be able to identify the fact that, am I allowing an outside force to control me, or am I in control? Because once you realize that you are in control, again, you have it affects your peace, your power, and your confidence. There are certain things, the things that are outside of our control, that we 100% should leave alone. Yes, I see it happening. Yes, I want it to be better, but once I have identified for myself whether it's in my control or not, and I've done everything that I can do, I have to relinquish myself from this outcome. So here's a method for you, a framework. 3 things, 3 steps for you to understanding what you can control, how you can lead what is yours to control, and then release what isn't. So number 1, so when you come into these certain situations, you have to pause and sort. So when you're feeling pressured, when you're feeling stressed, you have to ask yourself this question. And this is the question we've been asking consistently for these last however minutes. Pause and sort. Is this within my control, or is it outside my control? And this question automatically, it it shifts your emotional state because it releases the false responsibility. So number one, in learning how to lead what's yours and release what isn't. So number one, pause. Is this within my control or is it not? Okay. Number two, lead what's yours. So once you identify that, hey, this thing is not necessarily in my wheelhouse, it's not what I'm supposed to be taken care of. Don't try to control it. Don't try to control it. Once you identify that this is not one of the things that is within my control, don't try to control it. Go back to the drawing board. Look at what is in your control in the jar and assess those. I am married with 2 kids. My children, my wife are individuals in and of themselves. And they're going to, as much as I want, let's talk about my kids. As much as I want my kids to do exactly what I tell them to do, the way that I tell them to do it, truth of the matter is, there's not always going to be 100% compliance. So, do I as a father identify myself as a bad father when one of my children steps outside of the lines or the confines of what I've trained them to do? Yes, I can. I can take that on personally because I'm thinking, you know what? I trained them. I taught them better than this. How can they do this? And please understand, what I am sharing with you today, this is a concept that I've recently learned, I've come across. And again, it's changing the way I lead. It's changing the way I live, right? And that's why I'm sharing it with you. So my daughter's 19, my son is 17. So have I always been like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's outside of my control? No, I haven't. But I'm learning. So as I learn, I'm teaching you. I'm giving you this information because we're learning, we're growing together, okay? But as I'm learning this, it's changing my perspective. So, am I a bad father because my child went outside of the confines of the things that I taught? So, initially, think about what I just said, what I've taught. So, clearly, I've given some type of direction to my child. So, I have to go back. What meaning am I giving this? How am I showing up? How did I show up? Did I communicate it correctly? Did I have enough follow through? If the answers are all yes, this is outside of my control. But what can I do now? I can revisit it, but I can't give it the meaning that I am a bad father just because they didn't react the way I intended for them to react, right? Listen to that. Listen to that word, react, right? So what are we responsible for? Everyone is responsible for their own reactions and responses. So I'm trying to put myself on the hook for something that is 100% in the control of somebody else. So number one, we paused, we sorted. What is it? Is this inside of my control or is it not? Is it outside of my control? Once we identify those things, then we lead what's ours. So you lead what's yours. Judgments, actions, responses. All the other things, you have to leave alone. And once you do that, you let go of the outcomes. What their opinions. Now this is difficult. The past mistakes, you gotta let go. You gotta let go of the future hypotheticals, what could be, what may be in the future. You gotta let go. Now listen, I know this sounds so simple. And you're like, Alfonso, come on, bro. Really? I understand. But as you think through this, as you really lay it out and rehearse this in your mind, I promise you, you are going to release some of the stress. Now, granted, you heard me say some, because this is a work in progress. But when you start to think about all these different things, the dichotomy of control, lead what's yours, leave what's not, and release it. Once you realize these things, it'll cause your mind to start thinking differently. Because for so long, up until this point, you have processed things in a manner of control where there are some false attachments to control. Right? I can control this when you really can't. But as you consistently look into the jar, my judgments, my actions, my responses, I believe that you'll begin to see how you're putting undue stress on yourself. Control isn't necessarily power, but clarity is power. So when I stop trying to control everything, but I have clarity on what I can control, now it gives me a different level of power because I have clarity and understanding on what's mine to lead. So that's what I want for you to do this week. I want you to identify some things that are outside of your control that you are trying to control. And then identify some things that are 100% within your control. Maybe it's some goals that you have set. Maybe it's a project that you're working on at work, and you're having to go through that, filter through that project, and figure out, this is in my control, this is not in my control. This is in my control, this is not in my control. Same thing with a goal you have. I'm doing this within the goal. I'm being consistent on time. I'm being consistent with accountability. These are things that are in my control, but certain outcomes are not in my control. I release that. Because you are a greater leader. You are a greater person than what you think you are right now. And the reason why you're not at the level that you think you should be, or you're not that person that you think you should be, is because there are some things that you are trying to control that you were never meant to control. And when we identify these things, this is when we go to the next level. And let me say this is a caveat here, a disclaimer. Everyone will not understand it. There will be pressures for you to control things that you can't control. But you got to stay in the jar. There will be people that don't understand, why are you not stressed? Why are you not pressured? Because I'm stressed out. You should be stressed out too. You got to stay in the jar. These are the requirements. This is what we have to do. And you can do it. Because I believe in you. We are leaders aware. And today we are aware of the dichotomy of control. We understand the 3 steps to learn how to lead what we can and release what we can't control. We understand the jar. And when we as leaders aware become aware of these things, we make the adjustments and we do better. I'm proud of you, leaders aware. Thank you again for your time. Hey, share this with somebody who needs it. We're literally changing the landscape of leadership day by day, podcast by podcast, post by post. So share, comment. Let me know how you like it. Rate the podcast. Let me know if I need to do anything better. Again, we're on this journey together, and I'm grateful that you're here. So Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.